Now, my guest this morning is Vicky Godfrey, who's a nutritionist and the co-founder of DNApal. Passionate about health and new ways of improving our well-being. Vicky, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, lovely to see you.
And you,
we were both going, oh, sleep. Isn't sleep lovely? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Sleep is the best thing.
Yes.
Do you know my favourite thing in the world is when you've planned to go out and somebody cancels? How is that a joyous moment now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can just get your PJs on, get snuggly.
You're going, oh, I've got to go out. And then they phone and say, I can't make it. Go, oh, I'll get better.
Yeah.
That's my favourite thing now. I mean, seriously, I've reached that age. Now, tell me about health and new ways of improving, because you're using DNA data. So somebody's DNA can dictate what they should eat, how they should treat themselves.
All of the above. So
Right.
genetic testing, what we actually do is a thing called nutrigenomics. So it's nutrition for the genes. It's a relatively new science. It's been around 8-9 years now.
Right.
So the research coming out is getting faster and faster, and you can tell things like whether you're sensitive to caffeine, sensitive to sugar.
If I found out I was sensitive to caffeine, that would be the end of my life. I love my caffeine.
Yeah, lots of people say that. I've had lots of people refuse to do one because they go, I don't want to give up the wine. Will you tell me I have to give up the wine?
Yeah, I don't want to give up wine. I don't want to give up coffee.
Yeah, but no, we're kind. It's about preventative health. It's about knowing some of your risks, and it's about using nutrition, lifestyle supplements to make those changes. And there's this thing that sits in the middle called epigenetics. And to sort of keep it simple, I say it's like a light switch that you turn on and off. So you might have not such a good gene, a variant on a gene that might not be so great, but using epigenetics, which is diet, lifestyle and supplements, you can turn that gene off to express. And then the good genes that you might want to support more with certain foods, like the MTHFR gene, is about your folate requirements. Now, you know, when you were pregnant, and I was pregnant, everyone's like folic acid, folic acid.
Yeah.
Some people can't convert folic acid into folate.
Right.
So it gets stuck in other parts of the body when you look at the biochemistry. So if you've got a certain variant on your SNP of the MTHFR, which is nicknamed, I probably can't swear on this, the mother of gene, because it's quite a bad gene, can cause some problems. Then you might need to eat more green leafy veg, which is your folate, and take it from natural sources rather than taking it from a synthetic source of folic.
Folic acid tablets.
Yeah, are made in a lab. So it's in synthetic form.
Okay, but DNA, right. So I know that DNA is now it is believed it can personalise medicines.
Yes.
Right. So you can, especially with cancer treatments and things like that. And this is the way genetics are now being used for people, particularly with cancer, right? But how do you determine a genetic impulse for nutrition? How does that work? I can see it working with medicine.
Yes.
But I don't understand how it can tell you not to eat chocolate.
So if you've got a certain sensitivity to sugar, then your body's not... you know the old thing of put petrol into a diesel car and the car isn't going to work so well. So if you've got a sensitivity to something and then you're constantly putting that in, then that might cause...
But isn't your DNA set?
Totally.
From when you were born?
Totally, yes. It does not change, but the epigenetics can switch that gene on or off.
Okay.
So that's where the diet, lifestyle and supplements can help. So a great example was a guy was trying to lose weight and he was doing HIIT training. And in one of our genetic reports, it came back that he would be better suited to endurance training. He swapped to endurance training and all the weight fell off. Wow. We've got other cases where I don't absorb vitamin D very well. My vitamin D receptors don't work. And after a summer of sunshine in Spain, I was lucky enough to have, I went and got tested in September and I was borderline deficient. And had I not have known that, I would have just assumed that that summer of sun
was enough.
Yeah, and the liver only stores vitamin D for 4 months. So that's why when we get around Christmas, January time, that's when we kind of see flu and cold season around the work, is the worst time because your stores have run out by then.
Okay, so you talk about it being genetic. So we're genetically predisposed to what we should eat, in a way.
In a way. So if you're sensitive, so another example is nitric oxide for your heart is one of the genes that we look at, NOS, and that tells you whether you have a requirement to eat oily fish twice a week to support your heart. Some people might have a variant on that SNP, and then they might have an increased need of like fish oils. So therefore, they might have to take fish oils as well as eating the oily fish twice a week because their body just needs more and more to protect their heart from a cardiovascular perspective.
I mean, I'm deliberately playing devil's advocate here.
That's fine.
So isn't this just, you're looking at somebody's DNA and going, look, just tell them to eat healthy. Just tell them to eat healthy. Just tell them to eat green veg, take some supplements, and anyone would feel better after that.
Totally. Cut out the sugar, cut out the gluten, cut out the dairy. And they're two of the other genes that we look at is gluten sensitivity, but we look at that from a true celiac disease. And the same as lactose, because only about 50% of the population have even through evolution developed the enzyme to break down lactase, which is the protein in gluten. In milk. Yes, sorry. Nerves getting to me, sorry. In those cases, then you would eliminate those things from your diet, and then generally people feel much better when they listen to what the DNA report says.
And is this about getting healthy, or is this about losing weight? I mean, you came in and you said it changed your life. How did it change your life?
So I've got a gene. There's a gene called GSTM1, which is a liver detoxing gene. So which is about how could be drugs, could be pharmaceuticals and things hang around in the body before you can detox out of, the longer these things hang around in the body, the more damage some of them can do. So one of my detox pathways doesn't work so well. So for a year, I focused on my liver and my detox pathways. And after my second baby, I was about 13 stone. And within a year, I'd lost 3.5 stone, just focusing on my liver detox pathways and eating all the right veg, which is a cruciferous veg, kale, broccoli, spinach, things like that, to work on the detox pathways. And then my whole body changed, and I was in my 40s, which, as we go into our 40s, most people say that you start putting on the weight and you can't lose, it gets harder to lose the weight. The other really interesting one is looking at your estrogen dominance. So from a genetic level, we can look at whether you're predominantly estrogen dominant, and therefore we can work with you to try and get the progesterone up naturally, or work on the detox pathways and the methylation pathways. Sorry for some of these long words.
I'm nodding like I know anything.
But, to get the estrogen out the body to balance it more, because obviously if you're predominantly estrogen dominant, there is a high risk of later in life of having kind of estrogen-led chronic disease. Chronic disease. I don't want to say cancers because we never want to try and manifest stuff, because the power of the mind's quite powerful. But chronic disease that are estrogen-led. Yeah.
And so presumably things like osteoporosis and things like that you can help people with, or is that too late once you've got it?
No, you can always put more support in, because the bones are always, they have an osteoclast and an osteoblast. Sorry about this, we get a bit science. Basically they explode and then they get remade. Right. And your body's constantly doing that. Your body's constantly regenerating. And all your cells in 1 year, not one cell in your body will be the same cell.
No, I was told that we're a completely different person every 7 years.
Yeah, well, I'd say in the research I've read is 365 days that not one cell in your body.
Completely different. Because I noticed that I was using a face cream, and I'd used it as a moisturiser for a while, for a long time actually. And then one day I used it and I was completely allergic to it. It came up in spots. And I spoke to a friend who said, it's because it's not you're not the same cellularly.
Yes.
On a cellular level,
Yes.
you've completely changed.
Or you might have eaten something in your diet that might have been high in histamine, so things like red wine, cheese, fermented meats. Does that ring anything?
Well, red wine does.
Yeah, so that's high in histamine. So if you
Red wine's good for you.
it is in moderation, but if you've got a variant on your histamine genes, then red wine could actually be a trigger to some of your allergies, or things like that.
It was once I stopped using the cream, it was fine.
Yeah.
It went away. So you could also look at things. Because I'm trying to figure out the DNA if we're all different by DNA, but there must be we can't be all different in terms of everything. You know, there are only so many ways, I'm thinking, that you can be malnourished or...
Yeah, there's like on each SNP, which is like a part of a gene, there are kind of 3 variants on that. So some might be a slow gene, some might be a fast, some might be in the middle, and you could be either or. And again, the food, supplements, diet really affect. So if you're too fast, you need to slow it down. Certain foods can then help, or certain supplements in some cases can help to slow that down. It's fascinating. It's the whole area of epigenetics, which is just kind of coming out now. And like I said, it's only about 9 years. The science is about 9 years old. We have professors that we work with, and they're saying the research for nutrigenomics, nutrition for the genes, is coming out so fast now. Even a big team wouldn't be able to keep up with the amount of research that's coming out.
Well, I mean, it is fascinating that the DNA research now and everything that's going into DNA and the possibility of, like I said, of having individually made medicines.
Totally.
Just for your genetics.
Yeah, because some medicine, one size doesn't fit all. I think we all know that, and I think we all know that we're unique, and one person can eat a peanut and another person can't eat a peanut, you know. Yeah. So it's very much like that, and understanding the genome even more and understanding those risks associated with it is just... I don't know, I just think it's a wonderful insight of where we're going with personalised health. And
it's really interesting.
We'll take some of the risk factors out, you know.
So somebody wanting to have this done at DNApal, what happens with do you send them a kit and they...
Yeah, so you get a kit with a simple swab, so there's absolutely no pain involved. And it's 1 to 2 minutes inside of your mouth. You have to be an hour without food, just water, because food can have DNA, so you don't want to contaminate the swab. And it goes off. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get your results back. The actual splicing of the genetic material takes about 10 days to 2 weeks in a lab. And then you just get this wonderful PDF that gives you 8 pillars of health, which is your detox pathways, your stress, how your body breaks down stress. Some people don't recover very well from stress and can get quite sick. Looks at intolerances, looks at caffeine sensitivity, looks at how your body detoxes alcohol, whether you've got the fat gene, which is the FTO gene. Some people have a tendency to just keep eating, they're never full, and that's actually a leopard gene, and we look at those. We look at fitness, we look at sleep, whether you're naturally an early bird or a night bird.
I don't know what I am.
Yeah.
Absolutely don't know.
And then you try and work with that knowledge and then see if you improve. But we regularly get messages from people saying, thank you, you've changed my life, with the knowledge. So it's about empowering you with the knowledge of how your body works. We call it like the roadmap to how your body works.
And how do you protect somebody's DNA, its privacy?
Yes.
You know, because nobody wants DNA ending up...
No. So that was one of the reasons that we did set it up as nutritional therapists, was because we were witnessing bigger companies were selling on the genetic material. And if you tick that research box, that then gives them a license to, you know, sell it on. So we set that, we wanted to create a safe space where we won't do with your DNA what we wouldn't want done with our own DNA. So it gets destroyed once the samples are run and you get your results, which is It's a very, very quite a big document of 700,000 SNPs, which are genes that we look at. We only report on about 100 of them at the moment because that's all we've got the solid evidence for. But because we're building an app, that means we've got a digital platform that as the new insights and new research comes out, we can constantly be updating. Hence the PAL, because we want to become your PAL for life. You know, constantly giving you new insights to how your body works.
That's amazing. And presumably there's a cost involved in all of this?
Yes. It starts at $199.
Okay.
And then
But it's a lot of work, isn't it?
it is a lot of work. And then it goes up depending on which extra report. So you might want male health or female health, or you might want thyroid. And then the male health will look at prostate risk as well as, you know, how to eat and things like that as well, and heart risk. That's
amazing. I mean, honestly, this is the future, isn't it? This is what's happening.
It really is, and it is where personalised health's going to go, totally.
And well, it's personalised medicine, personalised health.
Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary. So it's DNApal. Where can people find you? The website here.
Yes.
It's just DNApal.me.
That's it, because it's all about me.
All about me. Everything's all about me. Vicky, it's been lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you. Vicky Godfrey there, nutritionist and co-founder of DNApal. Stay with us here on Talk TV. Your calls are next.